Today, I want to talk to you about something deeply personal and transformative: the experience of loss during divorce. This isn't just about the end of a marriage, it's about the profound internal journey we go through as we let go of who we were and make room for who we can become. I've learned from the work of William Bridges that we experience change, especially something as life altering as divorce. It stirs up a whirlwind of emotions. It stirs up chaos and confusion and uncertainty. And while it may feel overwhelming, I want you to know that your feeling is a natural part of the transition. And in order to move forward, we have to let go. Maybe it's letting go of a belief you held, like marriage is forever, family is a husband, a wife, kids, and a dog. Or perhaps it's the image of yourself as someone's partner, a certain role you identified with. This process of letting go, while painful, is what opens up the door to personal growth and transformation. The first steps in this journey are disengagement and dismantling. Divorce pulls us away from the life we knew. It can be hard to imagine a new way forward. You're leaving behind a reality that you know so well. You're feeling an overwhelming sense of uncertainty and confusion. You're scared. It's okay to feel unsure. It's okay to ask questions like, who am I if I'm no longer married? Who am I if I'm no longer a wife? Who am I if I'm no longer a husband? This is part of the process of dismantling old identities and beliefs. I remember asking myself, am I a failure if I get a divorce? What example am I setting for my children? I only ever plan to get married once and forever. These questions can feel like they'll never have answers. But as I move through this transition and beyond divorce over the past 2 decades, I found that each question, each piece of my old life that I released, led me closer to understanding my own worth and desires. Next, there's disidentification. This is the part where we no longer recognize ourselves in our old roles, like someone's spouse or a married parent. It's unsettling, and it can feel like you're floating in a kind of limbo. I have spoken to so many who feel this way, who ask, well, if I'm not a wife, who am I? If I'm not a husband, who am I? This is where the real internal work begins. This is where self-discovery and self-awareness is so fascinating, and it's invigorating and exciting if you're willing to be flexible and do the work, which you are because you're here. Then comes disenchantment, the realization that the old life, the old identity, no longer holds the same meaning to you. This is a moment to look below the surface of what you thought was true and begin to ask, what do I truly want for myself now? What do I want for my future self? What am I going to do to make it happen? This was the turning point for me as I began to understand that my worth wasn't defined by my relationship status, that my one failed marriage did not define me. It did not define who I am. The last stage is disorientation. This is the time of not knowing, feeling lost, like you're in a fog with no clear path forward. It's painful, but it's also meaningful. You might feel like nothing is familiar anymore. For me, When my boys went to their dads, the quiet was unbearable. I had four little boys. And when they first started going to dads, they were ages 8, 6, 4, and 2. So my house was bubbling with excitement and action, and that's what I knew for the past 8 years. I felt so alone. But those times of emptiness, as hard as they were, was when I started to discover who I am. I exercised, I read books, I went to the bookstore and sat in the self help aisle to read about how to do my divorce well. I went to the university library to read peer reviewed journal articles to help me move through the divorce process in the best way possible. I began to discover and become aware of what is important to me. I chose the right people I wanted to be with. I invited myself over to friends' houses for dinner all the time, and I didn't even want to go out. But I knew that social engagement and some laughter and some good times was important for me. I sat in silence. I intentionally sat in silence to journal and to think, to plan, to figure stuff out. While it's hard, this journey through loss and letting go is where we find new hope, new energy, and a renewed sense of purpose. Divorce may have changed the life you knew, but it does not have to define you. In fact, it can lead you to a deeper, more meaningful understanding of yourself and better relationships with other people. So, as you walk through each of these stages, remember this process is your opportunity to grow, to transform, and to rebuild. Letting go isn't easy, but it's a chance, it's the path to a life filled with purpose and possibility. You're here, you're doing the work, you're awesome. Thanks for being here.